Before world's end, Ezekiel Hale died once, and it was enough to break a universe. He didn't know that at the beginning. Before the fall, before the nanites woke, before the world tore itself apart, he was just a brilliant man trying to save one life, and accidentally rewriting the fate of every other. But somewhere in the distant future, long after that world had turned to dust, another man stood alone in a dark chamber. He wore a soft, stained barista apron over a reinforced exo-weave underlayer, a strange mix of past and future, like someone had built armor beneath a coffee shop uniform. The glow of the quantum existence anchor wrapped him in rotating arcs of pale light, casting long shadows across his face. They called him many things in timelines that never survived long enough to matter. Agent, anomaly, traitor, prophet. He preferred something simpler. Time traveler, he muttered, brushing a hand across the anchor's console, as if the machine were an old friend. He carried the presence of a storm, shaped by years and losses, marked by the quiet weight of things no one else survived to remember. He set the coordinates, not for a future, but for a beginning. And the machine turned him into information. Chapter 1. The Cure. Ezekiel Hale stood in front of the containment cylinder and tried, very hard, not to feel like a god. Inside the reinforced glass, trillions of metallic particles hung in suspension, not much larger than viruses, each one a self-contained sliver of code wrapped in engineered matter. In the lab documentation they were nanomedical repair units. Everyone else just called them nanites. In the right light they looked like glitter, a slow, thinking fog swirling around invisible currents. Overhead strips reflected off the field, scattering across the lab in faint metallic specks. "It looks like glitter," someone had said during one of the early demos. "It looks like liability," Miriam replied then, and she had never really stopped saying it. The lab door hissed open, a badge flashed against the scanner, and Miriam stepped in now with her usual trial day armor. Hair pulled into a functional knot, no jewelry, no distractions. She walked past him without greeting, straight to the primary monitor. "Your stabilizer's lying to you," she said. "Secondary phase is out of spec." Ezekiel didn't take his eyes off the cylinder. "No, it isn't. We compensated in. The tertiary compensation fails above 12% density," she cut in. Her fingers flew over the interface, pulling up logs, graphs, error traces. He had run those numbers twice. He was sure, but the red spike at 12% was right where she pointed. He hated being wrong. He hated being wrong in front of her even more. "Again," she said quietly. "Raise density." He adjusted the field. Inside the glass, the nanites thickened, compressing together until the shimmer deepened into a dull metallic fog. At 10%, stable. At 11%, stable. At 12%, a spike. The stabilizer output jittered. The graph shattered into jagged noise. Miriam didn't say "I told you so." That was one of the few things he liked about her in moments like this. She just reached past him and recalibrated the regulator, nudging a value most people in the building didn't even know existed. "There," she said, "you're trying to brute force coherence. You need relational feedback." "I designed the relational feedback," he said. "And it's good," she answered. "But not good enough." He should have been offended. Instead he was too tired, too wired, and too aware that she was probably saving his life, his job, and the entire project in one motion. The spike smoothed out. The fog settled into a quiet, swirling field. "See?" she said. He let himself smile, just a little. "Fine, one victory lap. That's all you get." She snorted. "Save the celebration for Jonah." The name hung in the air for a second, heavier than it had any right to be. They both turned toward the prep room beyond the glass. A small clean space, single bed, single man lying in it. Eyes closed, skin gone the kind of yellow-gray that meant organs were losing their argument with time. Jonah Reyes, 44, terminal cancer. Last line in every file. No conventional treatment options remaining. He was also Ezekiel's cousin. They'd grown up together, scraped knees on the same sidewalks, sworn they'd both get out of the neighborhood and do something that mattered. Jonah joined the fire department. Ezekiel fell into physics, then biomed, then spent 10 years chasing mathematical ghosts in quantum tissue models. Jonah's name had been in the back of his head with every grant application, every sleepless night over equations, every "this is impossible" he'd refused to hear. He'd signed the consent forms without hesitation. "If it works," Ezekiel said now, "we're going to change everything." "If it works," Miriam replied, eyes still on the monitors, "we're going to have to live with what we change." He didn't ask what she meant. Not yet. He checked the containment logs one more time. The nanites flowed smoothly inside their field. Still just a tool, he told himself. Just a precision instrument, no more alive than a scalpel. Behind him, Miriam lingered a moment longer than needed, watching him watch the cylinder. "Zeke," she said. He glanced back. Her gaze held his a fraction of a second too long, something unspoken hovering there. Then she looked away sharply and busied herself with the tablet as if she hadn't almost said something else. He told himself he imagined it. He was good at lying to himself when the alternatives were inconvenient. The end. Episode 2. Jonah Walks. Coming soon.